Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I have this super cute card today featuring a stamp set from Kitchen Sink Stamps. Let's get started. I'm going to be using the Kitchen Sink Stamps Potted Topiaries stamp set. This is a stamp set that I've had in my collection, but this is the first chance that I've actually created a card with it. I think I might have used it one time before as an accent to another scene that I created. Anyways, this one includes a spiral cypress shrub, a teardrop shape cypress shrub, a mound of lavender, and a terracotta pot. What I have in my hand is a stamp alignment guide. You will receive one of these with each stamps that you order from Kitchen Sink Stamps. These stamp alignment guides offer some helpful tips on how to align your stamps to give it that 3D look. You'll also receive, printed on a piece of acetate, this laser printed stamp identification sheet, which can help you determine the coloring for your stamps. For example, with this set, which one is light green, which one is medium green, which one is dark green. Some people also use those laser printed sheets to help align their stamps. But I have found that it's great for me to store my stamps, and as long as you store them on the back, you're fine. You don't want to store them on the front, because if you store them on the front, the stamp is likely to pull that laser printed image right off of that film. Okay, so now you see I have this template. Basically, it's like a jig. What I've done is I have used the SVG files that come free with each stamp set that you order from Kitchen Sink Stamps. I have taken them and cut out, using my brother's Scan and Cut, these die cut shapes. Now, when you do go to order from Kitchen Sink Stamps, you want to make sure you place this in your cart when you go to check out. Do not wait and go back later to buy them, because they're no longer free if you do that. So make sure you throw those in your cart if you have a type of machine such as a Cricut or any type of cutting machine. If you want to have the ability to cut out these SVG files. And I like this because it makes for great layering on my stamp, on my card that I create. And it also helps me align my stamps. So I'm using a MISTI, and I'm just taking a closer look here. I pulled the MISTI closer so that my head is actually right over top of it, making sure that I have this lined up and positioned well. This is one of the easiest stamp sets I have from Kitchen Sink Stamps to stamp and align. So if you are a beginner, I would highly recommend this set. I think you'll get a lot of pleasure out of creating with it, and you can create a vast array of cards for all occasions. My green inks are from Altenew. I'm going to be using Moss, Bamboo, and Parrot. This is from the Tropical Forest Quad, which has 4 different colors of ink. It has moss, olive, parrot, and bamboo, but for today I'm just using moss, bamboo, and parrot. Now, what I'm going to do is stamp my darkest layer first. So I will take and stamp this spiral cypress tree with the stamp number 3, and I will use moss. Now I'll clean my stamp, put it back on my color ID film, and I will take layer number 2. For layer number 2, I will use the green ink Parrot from Altenew. You can use any inks. Dye-based inks work best. You can see again, I'm pulling that MISTI closer to me just to make sure I have everything lined up right. I'm going to be using Catherine Pooler inks for the Lavender Bush, because I did have a set of inks from another company with purples, but they just were not coming out right. So the colors that I'm suggesting are from Catherine Pooler, which you will see just in a few minutes when I get to that part of my video. All right, let's go ahead and grab the Parrot ink and ink this second layer. I'm stamping mine out in reverse order. I'm going 3, 2, 1. So I'm going darkest to lightest. You can stamp them out in the other order if you prefer. It's really up to you. And it depends on what kind of effect you're going for. Now, I've got my first layer here, which is my most solid layer. And I'm going to use my lightest color ink. And I'm going to use bamboo ink. Another reason why I'm doing it in this order is I was looking at the stamp alignment guide, which is that little slip of paper that comes with your stamp set, and it suggested going in 3, 2, 1 order. So that's one of the reasons why I did it this way. Now I'm using, again, bamboo ink from Altenew. I'll have the inks linked below in my description box, as well as all of the products that I used today. And we do have a discount code for you if you are interested in ordering any kitchen sink stamps. I'll have that listed below in my description box. I'm going to stamp the teardrop shaped cypress tree in the same exact ink colors, but I wanted to tell you about the Foiling Snobs Club on Facebook. We have an exclusive KSS kitchen sink stamps challenge that is monthly on the Foiling Snobs Club. This month, it's anything goes. So if you're a member of Foiling Snobs Club, head on over there and post your card. You will have the opportunity to be entered to win a free $25 electronic gift card from Kitchen Sink Stamps. Our host this month is Nancy Stamps, and you can use any stamp set from any stamp company. Does not have to be kitchen sink stamps. We will give special consideration to those who use kitchen sink stamps, but is not a requirement. And why not? It's a great chance to post a card. You just upload it to the album, and at the end of the month, we pick a winner. So head on over there to the Foiling Snobs Club. I'll have that linked below in my description box. Make sure you answer all the questions so that you are admitted into the Foiling Snobs Club. It's just basically a Facebook group of people who enjoy stamping, who enjoy foiling and card making and other different types of crafty projects. And we would love to have you as part of our club. We have almost 5,000 people, which has been incredible. Our club has grown so quickly over the past 2 years. Again, we'd love to have you there. We post our projects there. We do promotions, and we just have a fun time. We also have a card swap group. So at the beginning of every month, you have the opportunity to sign up to be part of a card swap. What that is you get randomly assigned the names of 5 individuals to send a card to. And each month, the theme is different. So for example, last month, the theme was thank you, or I don't know, thinking of you. I can't remember off the top of my head. And this month, it's anything goes, which does go along with our theme for our Kitchen Sink Stamps FSC challenge. So it's just a lot of fun. It's a great community of people who are uplifting towards each other and encouraging, which, the world needs more of that for sure. Looks like I'm on my 3rd layer here for our teardrop shaped cypress tree. And then I'll have both of my trees stamped out. Shrubs, not trees. I think they look great. I love the spiral one the best. I don't have one like that. I mean, I have some shrubs in my yard, but they're not shaped as nice as that. Green thumb to do that. And special hedge trimmers probably, right? Okay, let's go ahead and stamp our terracotta pot. This is the perfect terracotta pot. And now it has 4 different layers. I'm starting with layer number 4. Again, layer number 4, I'm going in reverse order. I'm stamping the darkest layer first. And I'm switching over to Catherine Pooler inks. I'm going to be using inks from the Apothecary line. And the first color that I use is terracotta. How fitting. I'm going to speed this up for the sake of time. moving on to layer number 3, I'm using ginger. Again, these are Catherine Puller inks. For layer number 2, I'm using apricot. It's a nice light orange. And then for my final layer, which is layer number 1, I'm using Catching Rays, which has a nice orange tone to it. I think that's the perfect color combo for terracotta. Just reminds me exactly of a terracotta pot color. Sometimes when I do my little die cuts, I might have it just slightly misaligned, and I might just have a little section that doesn't have any color on it. So I just take my stamp ink pad and I just rub it gently on that section. You don't have to do that. That's just something that I do. Going back in, I start with terracotta as my layer number 4. I'm making 2 pots obviously here. My layer number 3, I'm using ginger. My layer number 2, I'm using apricot, which this is the layer that we're on right now. Oh, I actually flashed the ink pad finally. I get so caught up in the process that sometimes I forget to show my ink pads, but I always remember what colors I use. And that was Catching Rays. So we've got 2 shrubs and 2 pots. This next die cut, it's actually the lavender bush and the pot together. So it's one single die cut. You don't have to use this one. You can go ahead and stamp out the lavender bush as a separate die cut, but I just thought I would give this a try because it's basically got both components together on one die cut piece. And actually it works out very well. And again, I use those same colors again. And what's nice about these SVG files, you don't have to buy the dies. Dies are so expensive. I don't know if you have recently purchased any dies with your stamps, but they are very expensive. So I love that Kitchen Sink Stamps does offer these SVG files. All right, now we're moving on to the lavender bush. All right, so the lavender bush has actually 6 different stamps. First is the greenery that is associated with this bush. And what I used for that first color is a very light color. And I want to emphasize, you want to use light color inks for this lavender. The first color that I used was winter green. The second color that I used was matcha. And the third color is in the park. So those are some very light colors of greens. Now I'm going to use some light colors of purples. And so for the purples, I followed the recommendations of my stamp alignment guide, and I'm stamping layer 4, layer 5, and layer 6. So for layer 4, I used lilac. For layer 5, I'm going to use serene. And for layer 6, I'm going to use serenade. So I kind of switched the order up there. So I went 3, 2, 1 with the greens, and then 4, 5, 6 with the purples. And you really do have to do it in that order. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised with how realistic this looks. So I'm very happy with my shrubs. I'm going to go ahead and peel them off my MISTI and get ready to put them on a card base. Kitchen Sink Stamps also has stencils. I'm using the cloud stencil to create my cloud background. And I do have a magnetic glass board, so I'm able to use these little magnets to keep my stencil in place. And underneath my panel, I have just some non-stick Teflon baking sheet. My friend T sent it to me, and it's very nice because it basically grips that paper and it keeps it from sliding around. All right, so I'm using my stencil brushes or my blending brushes, and I'm using 2 different colors of ink from Catherine Puller. I'm using light blue, which is Oh Boy, and then I'm using the light purple, which is Serene. And so I'm just trying to create a cloud background that isn't just blue. I'm bringing in some purple, which I think accents the purple that is in the lilac shrub. When you're using this stencil, you want to shift the cloud so that you have different shapes being represented in the sky. So if you watch how I create with this, I will pick the stencil up and move it and use all the edges of the stencil on my background to give myself more realistic looking clouds. Also, I have really smooth paper. Anytime I use ink on paper, I use hammer mill paper. It's a really great smooth paper. You can get 80 pound or 100 pound, whichever is your preference. Today I have 100 pound. And then when I'm done, I just go in and add some more layers. I'm using a very light color ink and a very light hand. Oh, I'm using lilac. Did I say I was using serene? Oops, sorry. I'm using Oh Boy and lilac for my clouds. My bad. And then when I get towards the bottom, I just take whatever ink is left on my blue blending brush and just go ahead and blend in that white space. Okay, so we don't want our pots floating in the clouds, right? Go ahead and grab some ink, and what I'm going to do is grab matcha ink, and I'm just going to drag it across the bottom of my scene here, and that's going to create grass so that my pots are actually setting out on the lawn. And that's a very simple way to create the ground for your pots to sit upon so that they're grounded. Now comes the fun part. I did all the work and I have my pots die cut. I have my shrubs die cut. I'm just going to play around here with positioning, deciding how I'm going to position each component on this panel. And when you are lining up your pots, you can go ahead and just dip them slightly below this grass line, or you can have them sitting directly on top. The choice is yours. In the end, when I go to die cut my panel, I lose a little bit of that green. I should have made it a bit thicker. So you'll see how I end up just putting mine right on top of that grass, for lack of a better word, the green ink swiped section on the bottom of the card panel. All right, now we're going to die cut the panels. I recently purchased this die set from Gina Marie Designs. This is called the X Stitched Rectangle Die Set. I went ahead and I cut the ink blended panel, and then now I'm going to cut my background or matte layer. I cut that matte layer out, and I'm grabbing the Love Letter stamp set from Kitchen Sink Stamps. I'm going to be using the Thinking of You sentiment on my card today. I really like the font for this Thinking of You sentiment. And for my matte layer, I used just some light blue paper that I had, cardstock paper that I had in my stash. All right, I think I'll put the tall spiral cypress shrub on the left. I'll put the lavender shrub in the middle, and then I'll put this teardrop shrub on the end. And when you are putting that shrub right on top of that terracotta pot, it just sets right on top. You don't want to put it behind. You want to put it right on top, just right on the edge, and that looks more natural. Okay, for the interest of time, I am going to speed this up to super fast speed, lightning fast card making. I only wish that I could make my cards this quickly. I'm pretty slow, but it's okay. Some people can go really quickly, and some people like me just take a little bit more time. I think I really fuss over the details. I ended up just putting these pots right on top of that grass layer, just because when I die cut my shape, I did lose a little bit of it, but I think it looks okay that way. Normally I just put it right below that line so that it looks like the pots are flush with that. Now I'm using VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink to stamp my sentiment. And I have everything put together now. All I have to do is to glue it on my white card base. Thanks so much for watching my card making process today. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified of when I do post more videos and go live. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. What do you think about my card? Do you like it? Do you think it turned out nice? What do you think about these gorgeous stamps from Kitchen Sink Stamps? I really appreciate everybody that makes comments. I read each and every one of them. Thanks so much for watching. Have a hopeful day. Bye-bye.